Hi, my name is Brianna. I'm 23 years old and like a lot of people my age, I'm done school, I still live at home, never owned a car, yet I've been working full-time for over a year and saved my money and still think it's a bit premature to move out. But I'm engaged and this is my fiance Noah. He's 20 and will be in school for another 3 years full-time. So we've decided on a 13-month engagement to try and save as much as possible before I will be almost entirely responsible for our survival while he finishes his degree. I think a lot of people my age are facing this dilemma. We want to start our life, but are wondering how. Most young people have the dream to own a house fairly soon after graduating. We spent thousands on our degrees to get us barely above minimum wage jobs, and at least in the Toronto area, we're looking at maybe $1 million for half a bungalow. With the fast approaching expenses of having to pay for housing, utilities, tuition, the question is, can we even afford to get married? The answer is, I think so. I started this channel because I know how challenging and overwhelming it can be as a young adult trying to become financially independent, especially in today's economic climate. I want to show my journey, even though I don't know yet if it's quite possible, of how to become financially successful as a young adult in one of the most expensive areas to live in North America. The first thing to do is make a budget, not just for our wedding, but for our overall expenses of what we're gonna need once we become financially independent and need to think about how to live on our own for the first time. So I decided to talk to Noah about kind of what I think our plan should be and see what he thinks about it. Okay, so I think before we get married, we should have a down payment for a house, which, assuming that the minimum we could probably buy a house for is $1 million, that's $75,000, which I almost have already. I also put a $5,000 emergency fund. I'm not sure how much you're actually supposed to have in an emergency fund. Do you actually know?
I'm not sure. I think it depends on how much you have too, right? Like if you have like a lot of cars or a bigger house or more stuff, then you need probably a larger emergency fund.
Yeah.
And if you're starting out, 5,000 is probably enough as an emergency fund.
I think I read somewhere that it should be like 3 months worth of expenses. Which I'm like, that's kind of insane to like be like, we need to have like $15,000 set aside in case something happens. But at least 5,000 is like something. Which like these days I'm like, what even like would an emergency be? Like a medical thing where you can't work or something?
Or I think more of an emergency fund is like unexpected expenses, like your pipes burst or something. Or like you have like a pipe issue or an electrical thing or a small fire or something like that. Then
20,000 for like moving expenses, furniture, all the stuff that we need for our first place. I don't know if 20,000 is like a lot or a little or good. I kind of just put that in there.
That might be high, but I'd say 15,000 probably.
I said $8,000 for the wedding.
I think that's reasonable.
That's what I'm hoping.
At least for high end.
Like originally I was thinking like 5,000, but now I realize that that's kind of pushing it for food and stuff. Like Dad said 10,000 just for food. I'm like, all right, that's excessive.
That's too much.
Way too much.
Especially for a vegetarian. The meat's what costs all the money.
And like I feel like we can do all the dessert stuff ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
3,000 for honeymoon. That's based on the cruise that we're going on because it's supposed to be like $1,500 each.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. That's
a grand total of $106,000, which sounds pretty crazy, right? For total transparency, I have lived at home for my entire adult life so far. And so I've been able to save a lot of money because I haven't been paying rent, I haven't been paying for food, I haven't had utility bills or anything like that. While living at home, I've worked 16 to 20 hours a week during school and then full-time during the summers. So I've been able to save quite a bit of money for this, which is around $70,000 to be exact.
Wow.
Between the two of us, that means we need to make $36,000 in the next year before we get married to have enough for all of those future expenses, which I think should be pretty doable. Now that we have this budget, we have to be smart about how we're going to be using all these funds. And right now, the category on the forefront of my mind is the wedding. The average cost of a wedding in North America is $25,000. That is absolutely astronomical to me. I would like to spend $8,000 in total. That being said, I would still like to have a pretty traditional wedding with around 85 guests at the reception, which is kind of a lot, but I think we can still pull this off. So how are we gonna do this? Here is my breakdown. I put thank you gifts at the top for the people who I think would get wedding gifts. Wedding attire, I only put
It's like $100 for good black shoes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you had them or not.
No, I don't.
You know?
I have like brown ones. I don't have black shoes, I don't think.
Okay, $100 for shoes. My dress, $650. But I don't think I need anything else. Like I have shoes.
That's probably fine. Yeah, I think that's a good estimate.
And then I think you have everything else that you need, unless you need a tie. You have a black tie, right? Ceremony. Put $450 for Knox, which I don't know how much it would actually
I
be.
think that's probably reasonable.
Rings, I put $700.
It's probably reasonable.
Yeah, considering the site that we sell them on, like there was a good sale and we had your like coupon, so
Okay, she's fine.
yeah, I think that should be fine. Wedding license, I saw online is $160. Programs, I think Grandma was gonna like make them for us, so I don't know how much the supplies would be. She probably doesn't want us to pay for the supplies at all, but like if we bought like a pack of paper to print the regular
I think
card on.
20 is reasonable.
Yeah. Rehearsal dinner, I put like pizza or potluck. I think for like the number of people that we have, the like max that we would have to pay is like $400 for pizza.
Yeah, I like pizza actually. It's a good idea.
Yeah, because it's like so easy and
Everyone loves pizza.
yeah,
You can buy a bunch of different kinds.
Yeah.
Makes it easy to share.
yeah. We don't want to pay like an insane amount for the rehearsal dinner. Okay, so we're at cocktail hour. We'll need some sort of like dispensers to put the drinks in. So I found like a website that has those and I put like 4 for $10 each. I think it's just like a rental that they have. We can make like lemonade, punch, iced tea. That all shouldn't be like a lot. Like $60 for all the drinks. Reception. I kind of like was all over the place with where the food is on this.
$200 for cookies is a lot.
Well, I was thinking how much all the ingredients cost. I don't know. For
Oh yeah.
like 300.
We're making them ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It might be
Yeah.
that much.
Because William was gonna make them, right?
Mhm.
But then we should like get the ingredients and then he can.
Yeah, that's what he said too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Tablecloths. I found one site. I didn't like price. Like I didn't go to a whole bunch of places, but that was like the first place I saw. So that should be like the max if that was the first place I saw, right? It was like $72. Actually, that was looking at like round tables, and I think my church has long tables, so I'm not sure if they were different. But that's for 13 tables, which I think we were gonna need like 12 or less, right? So it's only $72, which is pretty good. Outdoor lights. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have those that we could borrow them. Dishware.
I think that's a little low for all the dishware.
I had a link. I think I like calculated it out because I think they come in sets of 12.
Oh, okay.
Catering. I knocked Dad's estimate down to $7,000, but then I knocked that down to like 3,800 or something. So like between us making like all the dessert and like late night snack thing and drinks, like it would just be like a main course that they'd have to do. So that should be good. Photographer, I put 1,000. I don't know. Did you talk to Nick about how much he wants?
I think 1,000 is probably reasonable.
Videographer I found was $850, which is sick. I'm so hyped about that. So that's a grand total of $9,840, which that is a bit over the budget that I said of $8,000, but I already know my dress is being paid for and my parents are gonna help with some things. So then like our budget is like 8,000.
Which should be fine, I think.
Yeah. There are so many ways that we can cut down the cost of our wedding. And one of the first things that we did was take engagement photos so that we could announce our engagement online. This could be very expensive if we got a professional photographer, but Noah's dad took all the photos for us and it actually turned out super well. You don't need to be a professional to take really good photos. You just have to have like a basic knowledge of photography. And these days everyone's really a photographer. Like your phone is good enough to take some pretty high quality photos. So I'm really happy with how the photos turned out. And I think that if we can keep this train going of like thinking of ways to do things for free, I think we'll be in a really good spot. I'm really excited to see how the rest of the planning goes and I'll keep you up to date.